My name is Corie Telfer. I go by Corie. Owner, operator, artist, packer, shipper, literally everything that is Corie Ceramics is just me. I went to McNeil High School in Austin, Texas, and I had a teacher there named Christopher Robbins, and he was my sculpture teacher, but he liked to try to show us all the different art forms, and that was kind of where I first got my hands on clay. I ended up taking one pottery class even though I was a sculpture major, and I just fell in love with it. My sister is a really good painter and my mom does watercolors, and this painting over here was my great-grandfather, so it's just, art has always been a part of my family and growing up. So I actually started doing watercolor pet portraits first, and then Greg, my fiance, was like, have you ever tried putting one on a mug? And I was like, no, I haven't. So I tried it and it just kind of took off from there. I just did a planter. One of their dogs just passed away, and her brother had passed away a couple years ago. And so one of their friends sent me a photo of the two dogs as puppies together. So it was kind of they grew up together and they were siblings, and it was just very sad and hard for him to lose both of them so close together. And especially since they grew up together, makes you think, and then you think too much and then you get sad. It does help that I'm helping them have something to remember those pets by. So that's kind of the driving force behind wanting to do that, I guess. I don't know. I've grown a lot with my art and through my art. For a while there, I didn't have a real studio. I was working out of the backyard or the garage, and it was always put everyone else first, put everything else first. I was a server for a long time. I was making other people's art for a long time. And it was always one of those things that then trying to take that step back to your own art, it's that much harder the longer that you step away. I have a lot of friends that have art degrees that are just working day jobs, and they tell me all the time, they're I really want to get back into it. It's the longer you take that step away and the longer you separate yourself from your own work, the harder it is to get back into it. And then the imposter syndrome sets in of well, you weren't even that good. Your style wasn't even that good. It wasn't unique. I like my job a lot. I like my day job a lot, but it is still making someone else's stuff, and it kind of weighs on you a little bit when it's I go to work and I glaze a bunch of things for my boss, and then I come home and I glaze a bunch of stuff for me, and it's just hard to balance that 12-hour days. I'm trying to get to a point where my art alone can be sufficient enough to, where I don't feel I need to have a quote-unquote day job, where I can only work in my studio and only make my own work. I'm definitely one of those people that just learns the hard way, and it's not fun, but if that's how I learn, that's how I learn. And so it really was taking 3 steps forward and 4 back a couple times. I think that was how I got to the point now where I'm okay, we've got a system, everything's working out. When something messes up, it's not it broke, I'm gonna be mad about it. It broke, what can I do to make it not break next time? So it really is just rolling with the punches. I always tell people that pottery is one of the most anxiety-provoking arts, because there's from point A to point Z, there's 6,000 things that can go wrong with each letter. So when you're making the piece, when you're carrying the piece around, the color could mess up, you could have a bad batch of glaze, the firing could go wrong. So when you pull that final piece out of the kiln and it's better than you expected, it's almost I made this for me and you. You feel very very fulfilled having that really good piece, even if it's just one out of the 20 that you have in there. If you get that one piece, it's the best feeling. Having a lot of queer, gay, bi, lesbian, trans friends, and being on the queer spectrum myself, it's been something that I've just always been passionate about. And I have personal friends that have benefited from the Trevor Project, friends, trigger warning, but suicidal thoughts and things like that didn't have access to the means and ends that they needed to get the help, and the Trevor Project helped them. So it's always been on my radar to I'm a poor post-college artist, I don't have just money lying around, but if I can, take a little bit of a cut on a mug or planter or a painting and donate some of those proceeds to the Trevor Project or, Planned Parenthood or something that I'm passionate about, then that's my way of being I'll make $10 less on this mug to be able to help somebody else that, because my friends needed that help too. So I don't know, I just give back in the way I can, if I can, how I can. It's not a lot, but the effort's there. I want to bring joy to people to the point where they want other people to feel that joy from my work. I'd like to be able to just focus on this And I think that's actually closer than I think it is, and it feels good.